Disney World trips cost thousands of dollars, and the truth is that it's really easy to waste your time. So today I'm going to unveil all of the ultimate time wasters to help you save time on your dream Disney vacation so it doesn't turn into a nightmare phantasmic. Hello my lovely humans, I'm Kenzie from Monorail Supply Co. And chances are that if you're watching this video, you've probably already spent countless hours planning your dream Disney vacation, from delectable delights and dining reservations to a symphony of rides to those special experiences that make you feel like you're a main character in a fairy tale. One thing that people do forget to plan is how to manage their time. So today I'm going to walk you through all of the biggest time wasters to ensure you can make all of those dreams a reality. So let's get started. Embarking on a Disney adventure is like entering a magical maze of dreams, but let's face it, finding your car in the colossal parking lot can easily be a nightmare if you forget where you park. Luckily, Disney makes this super easy as long as you pay attention. All of the rows are numbered and different sections of the parking lot are labeled to different characters, making it super easy to remember where you parked. You can easily text this to yourself or other members of your party, or you can even open your My Disney Experience app and open the Find My Car feature where you can save the exact character and row that you parked in so you can easily access it when you are ready to leave. Worst case scenario, if you cannot find your car at the end of the night, go up to one of the cast members. They actually keep track of which rows were being filled at which times of the day. So if you have an estimate of where you parked during the day, they can reference around where your car is, making it a little bit easier to find. Another huge time waster is the TTC, also known as the Ticket and Transportation Center. If you rent a car, drive your own car, or use a shared ride service like Uber or Lyft, you're going to have to come to the TTC when you come to Magic Kingdom. Once you park, you have a really long way to walk, and then you either have to take a monorail or a ferry boat to get into Magic Kingdom. It takes a lot of time, so I always recommend taking Disney transportation if you are coming to Magic Kingdom and you're staying at a Disney resort, because they can drop you off right up front, and that's the only type of transportation that can. So save yourself some time and take Disney transportation if you are staying at a Disney World resort. The line at quick service dining locations can be as long as Rapunzel's hair, so it's important to plan accordingly so that you don't waste your time. One pro tip is to mobile order your food in advance. You can either do it when you're hungry or even first thing in the morning while you're on Disney transportation heading to the park. Pick the window that you think your family will want to eat at, and then you can always go in and adjust it later if that's not the preferred time it ends up being. It's going to save you a lot of time. You just click "I'm here, prepare my order" when you're ready for Disney to start preparing your food. One thing to note is that once you do click that button, it is going to still take some time for Disney to actually prepare your food. So be sure to click that button 15 to 25 minutes before you're actually ready to eat so that it will be ready to eat on time. Another pro tip is if you don't mind eating off hours, it will be a lot less crowded, the lines will be shorter, you'll get your food faster from mobile orders, so that's another thing to consider. And a third thing to consider is doing a table service dining location. Make your reservation 60 days in advance and you know exactly when and where you will be eating. One downside to this though is that these experiences are a lot longer than quick service dining locations. Expect to be in those locations for 1 to 2 hours for your whole meal experience, and if you do multiple per day, that can really add up. So if you're trying to save time, definitely go for those quick service dining locations and use mobile order. Park hopping is a time-honored tradition by all Disney enthusiasts. It's kind of like collecting all of the Infinity Stones. It's very time-consuming, but oh so rewarding. What a lot of people don't realize that have never been to Walt Disney World before is how spread out the parks actually are. The transportation time itself does take a lot of time, and even if you are taking Disney transportation, there are many things that you have to keep in mind, such as waiting for buses, of course the TTC, which we kind of talked about a little bit earlier at Magic Kingdom, or even if you're taking the Skyliner or the monorail, there are transfer stations and multiple lines that you have to stand in to get to where you're going. So it usually does take a long time to get from point A to point B. I love park hopping, and honestly, I feel like Disney transportation is a part of the experience and is very enjoyable in and of itself, so I highly recommend that you try to experience all forms of Disney transportation during your trip, but just be sure to budget the time so that you can enjoy the ride. If you are staying at a Walt Disney World resort, then consider yourself the VIP of the Enchanted Hourglass. Why, you may ask? Because you can get into any theme park 30 minutes early, which can save you so much time because you're able to get more done in that 30 minutes. So be sure to take advantage of that and to forego your sleep and get to the park on time if you want to get as much done as humanly possible. Another thing to note is that if you are staying at a deluxe resort hotel, it's possible you might have extended theme park hours during your trip as well. Check the Walt Disney World website to see which nights they're offering it and at which parks. The parks are completely empty. It's a great experience if you're trying to get a lot done, especially those headliners, and I highly recommend taking advantage of those if you get the opportunity. One thing to note too is that Disney adds them at the last minute very often, so be sure to check a couple days before your trip just to see if any got added. Trying to predict the weather in Florida is like trying to read the mind of the Mad Hatter. Impossible and delightfully unpredictable. You can almost guarantee that it will rain at some point in your trip, so make sure you are prepared. The forecasts do change often and frequently, so be sure to keep an eye on your weather app. If it looks like it's going to rain, do not get in line for an outdoor attraction. I would say, in the next 30 minutes or so is kind of a good gauge, because the outdoor attractions do close when it rains most of the time, and if they don't, you're going to get soaking wet and it's not going to be a great experience. You also want to be sure that you're prepared for the rain. Think about what shoes you want, what jackets you want. You can also get ponchos in any of the gift shops once it starts raining, or really anytime you want. So that's another pro level tip for you. Just keep your eye on the weather, because you just never know what's going to happen next. The waiting game at Disney is an art, and the keys to unlocking it provide time-saving magic. One thing to note is that if you buy Genie Plus and Lightning Lane, you are definitely going to save time in lines. But of course, that's an additional cost, and you can still have a great day without using the paid services. One thing a lot of people do not know about is you can go into the free version of Genie Plus and you can view your tip board, and you can click on any attraction and see the average wait times throughout the day. So you can see when the wait time is usually the lowest. The last thing you want to do is waste your time waiting for something like Dumbo for an hour when you can easily get on it at some point during the day in 10 to 15 minutes. And if you aren't familiar with the attractions at Disney World, it is a really good idea just to pull up the wait times at home and get familiar with what they usually look like and the average times per day to help you create the best park plan possible. The next time waster goes to my weary travelers and my fellow coffee aficionados. If you need coffee first thing in the morning and you try to get in line at Starbucks or Joffrey's, then you are definitely going to be wasting a lot of time in line. Even throughout the day, the lines are generally pretty long because people need to refuel, and so you're going to be wasting a lot of time in line. Some ways to get around this are in your room. There are coffee pots, and they do offer Joffrey's coffee for free. If for some reason you don't like Joffrey's coffee, you can always bring your own. Just make sure it's compatible with the type of coffee maker that's in the room. Bring your own creamer. You can even order your own bottled coffee and have it delivered by Amazon or another grocery service as another pro level tip. Another thing that you can do is you can mobile order Joffrey's from most quick service locations, since you cannot mobile order from this type of Joffrey's or Starbucks at the front of the park. I will say Starbucks consistently has a long line all day long. Joffrey's is usually a little bit shorter, but as you can see, it's still pretty long even towards the end of the night. May magic fuel your day instead of coffee if possible. If not, then hopefully you can use one of these pro level tips to help save some time. There are times when you get in line for a ride at Walt Disney World and the attraction breaks down while you're waiting in line. Essentially, the ride decided to take an afternoon siesta. Well, you have a choice to make. You can either wait in line and hope that the attraction comes back up soon, or you can exit the line. There are times where the cast members will tell you just to go ahead and get out of line immediately because they know it's going to be down for a while. So in those instances, it makes your choice easy. In the other instance, it makes it a little hard. What do? Do you wait and hope it comes back up, or do you go ahead and exit and hope that that's the right choice because you don't want to waste time waiting for a ride that never comes back up? So it's really up to you in terms of what you want to do. If this attraction is really important to you and you've invested a lot of time, then maybe you wait, 10 to 30 minutes in hopes that it comes back up before leaving, or you can just go ahead and leave if you just got in line. Ultimately, the choice is yours, but this is a way that people do waste time waiting for attractions to come back up after they've gone down. One pro level tip, if you do decide to get out of line, keep an eye on My Disney Experience. As soon as you see that attraction come back up, get in line, because the line will be very short and it'll essentially be a walk-on attraction. So take advantage of that as soon as rides come back online. Shopping in the Disney gift shops is a quintessential part of the Disney experience. There are a symphony of souvenirs and magically, wonderfully shaped Mickey objects to be had. But if you're not careful, you might get sucked into spending too much time in these gift shops. They're almost everywhere you look, including right when you enter pretty much all of the theme parks. So my advice is to be careful about how much time you are spending in them. Maybe stop in midday when they're less crowded. If you see something, make sure you grab it, because there's no guarantees they'll have it later in the day. I've learned that the hard way more than once. But another pro level tip is the gift shops do stay open after park close. Not all of them will, but all the flagship big ones will that have the most merchandise. And they are very crowded at the end of the night, but they typically stay open for an additional hour. And so you don't have to utilize park time to shop during that period, but they are a little bit more crowded. So it's a little bit of give and take. Every night there is a sea of eager Disney fans waiting for the nighttime spectaculars, and that's for good reason. Disney shows are absolutely amazing, and everyone wants to get the best spot possible to enjoy the show. One thing I advise is not waiting more than 30 minutes for a nighttime show, and this is for various different reasons. One example is for Magic Kingdom. Everybody crowds in at the last minute. Cast members will tell everyone to fill in all available space. Someone that's 6'5" will likely be in front of you at the last minute, or someone will put their kid on their shoulders, or they'll have an iPad that they're holding high in the air. It's just bound to happen, these things, so you just have to expect them. And if you end up waiting multiple hours for a spot, this could be extremely a frustrating experience for you. So I always advise just waiting 30 minutes before. You'll still get a decent spot, you'll still be able to see things. There are certain parks where you can get dining packages that guarantee you a spot as well, such as at Hollywood Studios for Fantasmic. The nights where they have two shows, I always recommend going to the second show, because it's significantly less crowded than the first, and you don't really need to line up in advance for that one. If there are two shows, if there are one, then definitely you want to line up in advance or get that dining package for sure. And then at Magic Kingdom, you can actually do a dessert party, which again is more money, of course. It's a special experience, but it does guarantee you a seat, and your view is depending on which party you sign up for. So that's another example of some pro level tips for you to get the best seat possible for some of these nighttime spectaculars. One way to waste time is by not utilizing single rider lines. Now, there are some caveats to this tip. Not every park has single rider lines. The only parks that do and attractions that do are Rock and Roller Coaster, Smuggler's Run, Expedition Everest, and Test Track currently. And all the other parks do not have them. Occasionally Soarin' does, so that's one that sometimes does and sometimes doesn't. Now, single rider lines means that they will separate your party, so you want to be sure that everyone in your party is old enough and willing to ride by themselves, because you will be separated and you will be sitting next to a stranger. They can't guarantee that the line is shorter, but I will say that most of the time it is about a third shorter, if not more, especially Test Track, because a lot of people don't know about these single rider lines. You can typically just walk right on, and so it can save you a ton of time if you don't mind separating from your party. If you are looking for the swiftest departure at the end of the evening or after the fireworks, then ordering a minivan is the way to go. You can order a minivan through the Lyft app, so be sure to download the app in advance of your trip. They're actually run by Disney cast members, and of course they're themed perfectly to Minnie Mouse as well. They have special access and can drop you off super close to the front of the park, even at Magic Kingdom. You don't have to go to the TTC, which is super great, and you can also get really a lot closer to your resort room as well, especially for those resorts that are spread out more. They are expensive, so that's something to note, but if time is of the essence, then minivans are definitely the way to go, and they're super cute and so much fun, so you need to try them at least once. Well, my friends, now you have all the tips you need to have a magical vacation. Now go and reach out and grab that perfect magical vacation of your dreams. Let us know what time-saving tips you have in the comments below. We always love hearing from you. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so you're notified every time I post a magical video. Until next time, I'm Kenzie. See you real soon.